Hello, everybody. This is the Stream O Consciousness coming from Oregon and Pennsylvania. And I do have the Lisa Hauserman sitting at, I think, my right.
I'm not sure. I'm here. That's all that matters. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Right, left, up, and down. Hey, how are you
barely.
doing, Lisa?
Oh, I'm delightful. And you, my dear sweet woman?
I'm holding. I'm holding it back as I have been, very calm and patient and trying to figure out what's really going on in my town.
I know it's hideous. But before we get started on that line of insanity, I guess I want to tell you I really dig this background.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I am addicted, as everybody can tell, to this green screen stuff. It's just a lot of fun. Gives a little pizzazz to your otherwise drab room.
Right. Yeah, but I mean the background, but not only your green screen, but the stuff around us here.
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
that.
oh,
There.
thank you very much. Thank
The
you.
sun's over there, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm dressed this way. So excuse me. Okay, here we are together again. It's been a
Yes.
while.
Yes, well, lots happened, and we're both having life coming right by us as we're trying to do a YouTube channel.
Right.
So it
Life
happens.
happens when you're busy making other plans or something that John Lennon said. What did he say?
Oh, he said a lot.
It was a good one. Life is always, I don't, whatever. I can't remember right now. My brain dead. It's all the tomatoes.
Yeah. Yeah, John Lennon. As a matter of fact, I decided that if protesters come to my hood, I have a plan. I thought, I'd wait till they get a little down the street so they don't know where I live, and bang a pot and, what do you call it? Spoon and pot,
Right.
and recite John Lennon's Revolution Number One. So you say you want a revolution. And I won't go through the whole song, but yes, that's my plan.
Well, I'm confused. Seriously. I'm totally confused. I'm not just playing dumb, which I do very well, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, without any effort. What are they wanting? Do you know? What's the deal here? And I noticed you call them the groups. I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, it's so blended now. I don't know what's standing out there, what alphabet.
Right.
But I can tell you that they are very militarized. As you can see in these videos, they have helmets, they have like tin type shielding, they have a central number to call if they get into trouble. I mean, this is not just your average citizens around here. I'm telling you, these are shipped in, organized semi militia.
That's kind of what I thought, and not to mention, but that Spiro guy I listened to a couple of, when I say recently, it's been weeks ago. I think we played him, didn't we, on the last show?
I think we did.
Hey, is it Spiro? Is that whatever his name is? He followed the money on another video about the funding of the one group. I don't even know if I should say them. The one that starts with a B. And it's not just GS who's doing the funding. A lot of these big corporations. It's just really funny because these people aren't they supposed to be like anti-establishment or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yet they're being funded by the establishment. They're going around with the costume on.
Well, I think the majority of them are just usefuls.
Yeah. I love how our code language goes.
Yeah, our little code language here, everybody. I hope you're tuned in.
I think they get it.
Oh, they get it.
They're smart.
Yeah, a lot of it's just useful hopefuls, and it just takes like maybe 5, 6, 7 real organizers to say, "Hey, we're going to go down this street tonight, and you're going to do that." And
right.
yeah.
Here's the thing too, and I mentioned this a long time ago. I didn't know until fairly recently, I'd say, that a lot of these alleged grassroots movement things are actually funded by, corporations and whatnot. Like back in the day, don't laugh at me, ladies and gentlemen, but a long time ago, I actually spoke at a tea party. Remember the tea party?
Oh yeah.
Well, Sorry, it was local. Of course, I don't think they funded anything here. There are like 10 people in Minesville in the middle of 2 buildings, and I said a few words or whatever. But in general, that was funded by like the Koch brothers and stuff like that, and Bustin. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of the people aren't aware of this. I know I wasn't. I can't be the only dum dum at the time, you know. Um, but then again, with this one, it seems like, I don't know. Do you think there's any real grassroots people that are unaware? Do you think they're all being shipped in? Do you think it's a little bit of this or that? What are your feelings?
Oh yeah, I do. I think it's just a few get shipped in here, you know. Like I said, 5 or 6 real organizers, and probably they bring another 10 or 20 people with them from, you know, Oklahoma to Washington State. You know, they all have their little groups that they form, little cells, and they bring them in, and then they get the usefuls to follow along, and then there you go. These current protesters that we saw the other night on the video I put up on my last stream was, I think maybe they said about 200, which now I have to give people perspective here. The Portland Metro, which means Portland and the attaching cities around it, and the Vancouver, Washington Metro and its surrounding towns that attach to it hold about 6 million people. So a couple of hundred of these Mickey Mousers is not really a representation. They're just an irritation. And if you notice, like I said, they're going to the police departments and all this. And I think there's an underlining money motive, period.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're totally right. And you know what else I think it could be too, in addition to that, which she mentioned in another video that I have a little boo-boo here. She didn't mention that in another video, but that the bigger businesses can buy up these other ones that have been torched and whatnot for dimes on the dollar. But there was another place I was going to go with this, and now it's gone completely out of my head. You see how I am?
I do that
It'll
too. Hey,
it'll come back to me.
I'll be there in just a minute. I'm drinking for the first time in a very long time. I do not usually partake in alcohol, but today,
We thought
folks.
we'd do all kinds of stuff while we're on here today, ladies and gentlemen. I might go ahead and drop some acid, and you know, God knows what. I'll be snorting cocaine in a minute and all that jazz, just for fun. I
And
haven't
we
done it in a
call
while.
it groovy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm joking. You know, some people don't understand sarcasm and they'll take that seriously.
Oh,
So here's
I'm glad you said that because I have to show this because I'm just that way. Please
okay.
allow me to share
I will
this.
allow. I'm muting.
I have to say I agree. I do not know where humor went in our old world, but it certainly didn't show up in our new.
Oh my God. Can you imagine George Carlin in this day and age? He would be probably fined or dragged off stage or something, wouldn't he be?
I'm telling you. I mean, I'm telling you. It's like, yeah, where in the heck? See, that's where they're stripping us spiritually. Because a person who laughs at least once every day has got to be the healthier person of the bunch. And you know, they're just stripping us, you know, physically, mentally, and that's where it's at spiritually. People, we've got to get our humor back, and we've got to get a little thicker skins. I do not know what happened,
I
but
think I do.
please elaborate.
Well, I mean, I don't know totally what happened, but you know me, I get stuck on. I really think that there is a lot of danger and damage because of this left right paradigm that we've been in. We've grown up in this, I guess. And for me personally, and I speak from experience, ladies and gentlemen, it was, I'm going to say, more difficult for me to leave the left right paradigm, you know, being identifying as something than it was for me to leave religion. It becomes a cult. You know, I'm on the cult thing, too. Everything's a cult. But I think that it just gets insane, and then everybody becomes overly offended on behalf of everybody else because their side is pushing that BS. And then it just snowballs and gets worse and worse. So I would say one of the causes, just one, is the fake left right paradigm, where we have, you know, the libtards, as the Republicans call them, and all this jazz back and forth drives me crazy because it's just, I don't get it. It's, don't people live in the same world I do? It doesn't matter who's selected, I should say, to do what? Nothing changes. Our foreign policy is still hideous. Everything remains the same, really. Yet we're supposed to think there's one better than the other. And then it just, whatever. I think that could be a strong possibility, is that I just don't like the idea of becoming overly offended on behalf of someone else. Now, I'll defend someone else if they're picking on somebody who's disabled, or, you know what I mean? That's not what I'm trying to say, that people I've never met in my life, suddenly I'm supposed to take up for them or whatever. I'm sorry, there's a bee around me. Okay. Yeah, I just think the left-right paradigm has led to a lot of problems. It's going to be our downfall. And it already is our downfall, as far as I can tell. It's one of the contributing factors. I have spoken. I'm going to mute and look at this bee.
Okay. Well, no, you're right on. It started right about the time I was born, actually. The nuclear family, they split us up from a religion, politics, sex, your origin, your birth, what you are, sex, our classes of education. And yes, there's just been a big divide, and it's finally hit peak. We're divided. And so much so that people can't really listen to the other side. They're pretty set in cement shoes with what they think and believe. And, but yeah, getting back to the humor of it, I mean, I remember as a kid, I was teased, and I mean, but it was part of toughening you up in the world. Okay? I'm just going to say this. What I have seen so far, and I've lived a beautiful life, everyone. I have no complaints. But this world is hard. It's not this, what do you call, Teletubby situation where everything's going to be fine and we're not going to fall and we're not going to have other people even push us down. It happens. And we got to toughen up. And my best tool in doing that in my life was humor.
Mine too. That's why we get along.
Yes, and especially when people made humor and fun of types like me, because I really got it.
Why were you picked on?
Why was I picked on?
Yeah, as a kid, I'm hot. I'm really hot. I'm gonna.
Okay, I'll start. I had a next door neighbor who picked on my brother and I because we are Italians. Can you believe? Back then, Italians still got picked on. I mean, I can tell you what I was called, typical Dago, Wop, spaghetti bender.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. But it toughened us up because my dad would come in and go, Jim next door, he called me a spaghetti bender. And my dad goes, well, when you see him next time, you call him this. And he would tell me something to say.
Wow, that is crazy. I mean, it's just so weird how things have changed. But I remember, Italians and Catholics and Irish being picked on and stuff. Excuse me, ladies.
We were. Even as I was growing up, and of course it all faded away. Now nobody even thinks about, but that's okay. The point is that, you gain personality, especially from those who really love you or of your like, that make fun of something that's just genuinely humorous about humanity.
Right.
And if we have to stop laughing, and I think that's part of the mask too. You can't smile, can't laugh now, can you?
Right. I think that you're right, though, about the humor thing, because remember how kind of sometimes the heavier set kids in school were maybe the comedians and whatnot. And I think that kept them from being picked on maybe a whole lot. So that's a good idea. But it's really bad when people don't understand sarcasm. Let me just tell you a brief illustration of this. I did a video recently where I was, saying, my God, that I wanted to take my own life because work was so hideous with Joel and all this stuff. And I don't know if you saw it or not, but I was going on about it. That, let's see, the day vacillated between hideous and hideous. And, I just would rather jump from a cliff and all. 11:30 that night, I get a phone call from an old friend of mine who does not get sarcasm at all. I used to joke with him and say that he's like Sheldon of that Big Bang Theory television show, where he just doesn't get sarcasm. He was crying and begging me not to take my life. I'm sorry, but I just am like, I'm not going to take my own life. It was a little bit tipsy too. He didn't just call me sober, but yeah, convinced I was going to kill myself. I mean, it was a pretty bad day at work, but I think I'll live to see another bad day at work.
No, yes, that's exactly it. And when people, when I throw out humor and jest, they do a lot take it seriously anymore. Or, yeah, it's a different.
Especially about the virus thing or whatever. People are really upset if you want to joke about these stupid things they want you to do, like 6 feet apart and wearing a mask. You're not allowed to kid about it. You just aren't. It's serious stuff, G Sharp. Don't you tease about it.
Oh, I know. No, you'll get your channel down if you mock.
Smoking.
Okay. Yeah, if you mock the system. And hey, is that not a story at one time? The emperor's new clothes. Don't tell the emperor. You do not mock the emperor because he knows.
Do you know that I did not know that storyline until 2 months ago?
Oh, really? Yeah.
I've heard the saying, I'm admitting my stupidity, ladies and gentlemen, but I heard that story, or the saying, the emperor has no clothes. I didn't know the background of it at all until, I'm going to say 2 months ago.
Wow.
No clue, didn't know.
I have to give credit to my third grade school teacher, Mrs. Hancock.
God love her.
God love her, because she really pushed us to read. We read a lot in her class. She did a little math and stuff, but it's like read. And she pushed those books on us that I didn't realize till many years later. It was Mrs. Hancock's covert way of saying, pay attention, students, because there may be a day. Yeah, she taught me to read that, and A Wrinkle in Time, and all of those really good classics in the day. And I've been reading ever since. So success.
That's good. Yeah, you do a lot of digging around on the net, and I know you have books and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm always
That
reading.
puts me in the mind of something else. When I was on the first job with Joel, there's a lot of construction workers there and so forth. And I was painting, of course, and I said something like, gee, I sure wish Huckleberry Finn would drop by.
Do whitewash.
And that like Spencer and Joel's son were the only ones that got it of that whole group. Joel wasn't in the room or anything, but they just all looked at me like I had 5 heads. Like, do you have any? I mean, I know I didn't know about the emperor's clothing, but I thought Tom Sawyer was kind of
a standard. Yeah. No, there's a little gap there in these last couple of generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were right. No child left behind.
I'm glad that that Justin, that's the oldest son of Joel. It does sound like a murder. I always say that. He really enjoys reading, so that's good. He even loaned me some of his the classics like Moby Dick. I don't really like Moby Dick. Does that make me a bad person?
No, not at all. I wasn't crazy about that. I was way more 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea kind of gal.
I bet you were.
Yeah. Moby Dick was too primitive. See, right even then I was being sold to the scienceism.
Ah.
I've got to have technology in my stories or they're not valid.
Oh, I have to tell you something that was horrifying to me that a friend of mine sent me last night. It was some little article that was on Facebook, and it was geared toward Christians. I got a cough. Not from smoking, of course, ladies and gentlemen. It's the thing. Anyhow, where was I? Oh God, hold me. I don't remember where I was at all. This is terrible. Oh yeah, Christians are being targeted to accept all the science behind what's going on right now and take the vaccine. And Jesus told us to accept science, and they're throwing out Bible scriptures to these people and all kinds of jazz. It's really weird. And one of the people involved in it and writing this little piece, being involved in pushing this toward the Christian audience. I'm not Christian, by the way, for those who don't know. I'm nothing, but I have been Christian. And most of the Christians I know aren't, they're a little skeptical of what's happening, frankly. So anyhow, one of the people behind this letter that was written is that Francis Collins of the Human Genome Project. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Okay, well, back in my hardcore atheist scientism days, when I worshiped science and didn't know it, and used to get pissed off when people told me science was a religion, and now I understand what they meant. I was into all those people, Dawkins and Daniel Dennett and Sam Harris and all the four horsemen, they called them, Christopher Hitchens, all those people. But one of them that I learned about, I guess, was this Francis Collins, and he's the head of the Human Genome Project, who they mapped the DNA of our body. Bill Maher, of all people, interviewed him during his movie called Religulous, which actually was kind of a good movie, but there were parts of it that were irritating, but whatever. And he was a total hardcore scientist and went out into the woods one day, evidently saw 3 waterfalls, and hit his knees and became a Christian because it put him in the mind of Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So this Francis Collin is like a born-again Christian who was also the head of this genome deal. And, it's not that the Christians that I know don't accept science. I used to think there were science deniers and all those labels that we put on people that don't follow the mainstream or whatever. It's not that at all. They're okay with science. It's just they want the real science with the numbers behind it and stuff. And they're not getting that with this. And I live in, I guess you'd say, a Christian community. So not that we're Amish or anything, but we do have Amish here. But they're okay with it. They just don't want the lying paid shills. Somehow we think scientists are above, because it's a scientist. They never get challenged on the media. Everything they say just gets taken as gospel. What the hell's going on? I'm done.
No, you're absolutely spot on. That is so true. I'm going to start from the end of my thoughts and hopefully go back, because sometimes you drop some things while you're doing that. Yes, with doctors, scientists, we have, and that kind of always kind of grinded me, because it was like, instead of saying, Father Paul, now we have to say, Dr. Matthews. It's like you always have to give them their title. And great, you're a smart man and you fix people's bodies, but titles start getting into that feudalism again. It just does, naturally. It just does. And that kind of started really irking me the last couple of years. But also, I was thinking, yes, we were brought up in the Star Trek generation to believe that science was the end-all be-all. And why would they lie to us about anything? Of course, we didn't realize that the natural progression of corruption goes everywhere. It doesn't stop at the door because it's a scientist's room. If there's money to be made, I always say, follow that and you'll get 99% of your answers. And yes, I left the religion of scienceism, and now I question everything. And I know some people are going to go, oh, here her tinfoil hat is coming on, but I question above everything right now are the numbers. I want to know the real population. I want to know the real financial, bottom line here. I want to know, the real numbers of where they think we're at in, our world. Okay? Where are we at in our world? I'm questioning everything, I guess is what I'm saying, Lisa. And it's sad because I was such a hopeful for that Mars and moon exploration that by the way, they keep sending rockets up about, 1 or 2 every month, it seems now, going to the moon, going to Mars. What is really going on? I want to know. And I want to throw one last thing in about people who really are still following this scienceism, because we think that they have, the almighty God particle answer for us all. Why is this Starlink that Elon Musk is sending up, that's now becoming really noticeable? People have said when they try to film that section of the stars at night, they can't any longer because they're getting streaks in their film as these satellites go by. Oh yeah, blocking certain views. And what's going on? they're building a ring around us. So we are truly in prison planet. I'll leave you with that, Lisa.
Well, thanks a lot. I'm sure of all things to leave me with. Well, I think there's a lot of different things going on. For one, this whole idea of rocketry being the end all be all. I'm sorry, the B is back. I'm going to try to be casual. I had to work with them the other day. They were all around me, and I just made peace with them, but they weren't.
Do you have really good smelling lotion on or something?
No, I never use lotion. Could just be because I'm sweaty.
Oh, I was going to say because nice smelling lotion, and in the old days we wore perfume and colognes.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah, you don't do that all anymore. Gosh, you'd walk into a room and you'd get hit with like 3 or 4 fragrances.
Oh, I know. It's awful.
It was hard.
Anyhow, getting back to this quickly, I think this whole deal of keeping us focused on rocketry is to hide that they're probably, most possibly, 98% sure there is some sort of secret space program that's been going on where they use, a little something different than a firecracker blasting off and allegedly carrying the Starman around the earth, whatever the hell Elon Musk did. I just thought that looked so fake. I'm sorry, I don't buy it, ladies and gentlemen. And I told G Sharp about it a while ago, and she's like, really, you don't? I'm like, no. I just thought it looked ridiculous. I'm sorry, I could be wrong.
No. I totally watched the whole thing after it happened. I went some channels and watched. And no, I agree with you. That is one of the best B-rated sci-fi movies that we had in a while.
And he even said it looks so fake, it must be real. And what the hell's that mean? I don't know.
They said that about his Corvette, no, his Tesla that he sent up there.
With this thing in it, it doesn't ever show. It's just, it looks insane. I don't know. Hey, can we take that break? Because I do have to refill my coffee. And
Absolutely. Let's take a break. And I'm
going
to hit us. Okay, everybody, we will be back shortly. Ghosts in the mirror. Look inside. And we're back.
Are we totally record? We're like, now we're here, right?
But we're here again.
I got a frozen thing for my neck.
Ooh, how nice.
I know. It was given to me by Kathleen. She used to lounge.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Sent me a lot of nice things. So if you're watching this secretly, Kathleen, thank you. This has been a lifesaver.
I'm using I can't mention the name, hard lemonade for my cooling today.
That sounds good. Really good. What all's in those things? And we'll get back to the secret space jazz. I'll tell you just quickly. If you go to a place called Richard D. Hall or Richard Hall or Rich Planet TV, he has a whole website and they look at different things. And on the YouTube channel, well, really, you should just go to the website. But he talks about the secret space program and they have a lot of interviews. And I really do think that's that's happening. Now, that's why I think the flat Earth thing was put out too. It could be the other way though. It could be the secret space program was put out to hide the Earth's flat, but I think it's probably the other way around, and the flat Earth was put out to hide the fact that secret space program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to listen to whatever. I don't freak out if somebody's a flat earther, but I do like there's one flat earther I've mentioned him to you before named Martin Kenny, and he has a cosmic egg theory that I think is interesting. You know,
That's what I'm on, the cosmic egg. Yes.
where it allows for space to be a thing.
Yes.
You know, so I kind of, he was almost a prophet too in terms of what's happening right now, but I don't know, and it doesn't bother me totally. What does bother me is when people just whip in and call you, how dare you believe we're on a spinning ball, and they freak out, and just, it's just to antagonize, and there's no, you know, oh, you flat tard or you globe head or whatever. Once again, two choices that they always give you.
Yes.
What's the opposite of a sphere anyway? Is it flat? Is the opposite of sphere flat, or would it be like something else?
Square.
Yeah, maybe it's square.
Yeah, well then, I mean, you can just go deeper then with them. If it's round or flat, I'm gonna go, is it a holographic universe?
There you go, because
Or are we really matter?
that's right, because that guy Matt, you know, Quantum of Conscience, I guess it is, the guy in Philadelphia. Mick listens to him now. Sometimes it's really funny, but he has some interesting thoughts. This is, everything's fake, basically. You know.
Well, it's not. Yeah. It's not like, well, we give it so much tangible value. You know, I can tap on this desk, but you know, in between the desk, we know there is atoms, a certain frequency of atoms that makes up the wood and the glue and the nails to hold the desk together.
Right.
And that's the same with us. Just a different you know, it all comes down with the holographic universe. Basically, we're light and matter particles getting zapped, jammed into a frequency. And
I think so. Like we're energy or energetic beings or electric.
well, that's what I'm
beings.
saying. That forms the shell, and then we have a spiritual, another vibration, spiritual piece. We are a fractal of the whole.
Good
Jumping in and having an experience in this.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go with it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm just trying to simplify where I go in my head.
Right. And you like, because we both come out of religion and then
Yes.
atheism hardcore. I mean,
Yes.
hardcore. And now I'm not those. I'm more like you are.
Yeah, there's way more to this life. And
I think so.
I think, you know, I used to kind of chuckle when people would say prison, you know, planet, prison, prison, planet.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of seeing it. It's not so much a prison. It's just, you know, when you have 2 and 3-year-olds, don't you sometimes kind of just, you know, lock them in a room so they can play together?
Yes.
And you don't give them the whole house until, you know, they can manage.
That's right.
So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like we're not given the whole house yet, but we're kind of starting, I think. I do believe there is a secret space program. Come on, people. Are you kidding me? Like Lisa said perfectly, we're not, you know, shooting firecrackers to get our asses up out there.
I stole that from Richard Hall.
Yeah, and all these things people see lately because we have what? Video cameras everywhere. They're seeing more and more of these unexplained objects flying around. Yes, I would say probably 75% of them are us.
Oh yeah, I think so too. And
they
I'll
have-
tell you what, go ahead.
I was gonna finish that off. That yeah, you see them. They're testing things out, and but with this whole recent thing of shooting off a bunch of ships, like I said, supposedly right now there's 3 of them went up to go to Mars. Is there really something there that they all want to get to first?
Right. I think there's more to the story. I mean, that's the thing. Like I listened to that Tess MythosDecoded. Is that
Lover? Yes, Tess.
She's
Mythos.
good. And I found out about her through Greg J, who I have to tip a bandana to. Well, here it is, or a banana clip. Um, because that's how I found out about her. But we've been not told everything, ladies and gentlemen. There's been things that have been hidden from us. And what I try to do in life is, if somebody's really going off about a particular heretical scientist or whatever, heretic, is that the right word? Yeah. Or, that really demeaning them or calling them names or whatever, I want to know more about that person that they're demeaning, because there might be something there. Just what are they saying that you're so desperate to not have come out? I've learned that over the years. And I think, like Velikovsky, she follows his work, Immanuel Velikovsky, and he had this Worlds in Collision book and really did a lot of research. Evidently, this Noah Webster was also this really is a stream of consciousness, was an electric or plasma universe person. Noah Webster. Is he related to Daniel Webster? How does Noah fit in? Whatever. But from like the 1700s. So she does a lot of good research, I think. So hats off to Tess.
Oh, yeah, I love her.
Yeah.
Just comes up with some really brilliant angles.
And she makes you think, like, for example, the Thunderbolts project, anything that gets too big and known by a lot of people, I start to think it's definitely been infiltrated. There's
Yes.
some, for sure they're going to hold back some. Not necessarily everybody knows about it. That's the other thing. Not everybody's in on everything. Not even scientists are in on it. They just are going with what they were taught. They're not all out to get us.
They go with the academia.
Yeah,
Academia.
exactly. Whatever. The thing that starts with an A and ends in an E. Yeah.
Yeah, ends in an A.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right. They're just going with what they were taught. So a lot of times when I talk like this, people think, oh, all these people would have to be involved if they'd, if Elon Musk really wasn't putting a Tesla around no, they wouldn't. It wouldn't really take that many. It's just very few people can really work the narrative, especially when they have the media. Look at this whole thing with the CV, the FANG, as I call it. This is a media-driven alleged pandemic.
Yep.
I see no evidence for a pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're new to this and have no clue who the hell I am, but I don't.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is nothing. If that's what they call a pandemic, then our reality really has changed.
It sure has, and it could be fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, they they have some real authentic science. So we can't throw, the proverbial baby out
Yes, I
with
agree.
that water. But yeah, like I said, everything gets infiltrated with corruption, and science and pharmaceuticals and pesticides and genetically modifieds,
Yeah.
and the way they transport them and the way they store them and the way they touch them and touch them and touch them and touch them and then tell us don't touch anything.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's just that ridiculous. I just had that ridiculous at the end because that's where they go with this mask thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yes.
But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is we're so. One thing I hope that comes out of this, Lisa, is we do go back to local. We get out of this overproduced, drive it long haul across 5 states to get
Yeah.
to you kind of stuff. Come on, we've got to stop that.
Well, I think that a lot of the like anarchist people, the ones that are, when I say anarchist, people get the wrong idea. The kind that are, means no government, no governing. You're
Yeah, the sovereigns.
Yeah. They have the ideas of having what they call freedom cells, little communities and things like that. I'm going to look into that a little bit more, but I'm really enjoying some of them, like this Derrick Broze, I think it is, out of Houston. And he writes for The Last American Vagabond and has a video series and a radio show down in Houston. And I believe he wrote a book about freedom cells and how to start one or have one or know what one is or what have you. So I'm learning new stuff out of it. So I'm trying to be chipper about that. But I just know things are, here we are longing for the good old days, and they weren't so damn good, but they're better than this.
Well, I did read in a history book many years ago, so please forgive me. I don't know who said this, but they said, as surprisingly as it sounds, a bad government can be better than no government.
Really?
Yeah, in the sense he was talking about, like, yeah, we've got a really crappy process going on here. It's true, and it does need to be changed. Whether it means us getting more local, which I think that is a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I like the idea of the worker co-op too.
Yes, and but not to again throw it all out, because we're at a period in time where we do have a lot of people around us, so we do need some type of government. And of course, there's going to be honest mistakes made in those governments, and there's going to be dishonest things going on in those governments. I think our crossroads here is to learn how to monitor our government. We've just given it to nobody wants to do the legwork of keeping your system, your community on the level.
Well,
We're
that's
all
true. Yeah.
handing it off to everybody else, which gets back to that book I read. We're the generation that didn't want to grow up. We always want that city councilman or that mayor or somebody else to take care of it. We can't any longer. We can't, because every time it gets handed down to just a few people, it goes sideways, and sometimes very quickly, as we're witnessing now.
Right. I think
So
that this particular setup is very easily corruptible. So it would have to be a different thing altogether. I can't really imagine it in my head right now, but I know what you mean.
yeah,
I don't like this idea. We're not represented. Come on.
no, no,
You know,
but people have all this useful, hopeful thing going on and handing it off to somebody else. And
right. And letting them tell our history and do all that too.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, they design what's going on in our schools, right down to what's going on in our sidewalks and streets, and it's enough. It's enough. It's enough. And that's the other thing. We got to simplify. This is just the 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 government, the rules, the laws, the corruption. It has just hit peak, just like everything else.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
at peak, people. You fill in the blank, peak, because
Well,
that's where we're at.
that one guy that I like now, I don't like everything he says, of course, but this Brian of the High Impact Vlogs, HighImpactFlix, he has several. He did a thing the other day that was very important and kind of appalling about this cashless society that's totally on the way, which we talked about before, maybe even on one of these. I think we did way back in the beginning. We mentioned it. Yes.
Yes, we
And people
did.
look at me like I have 5 heads when I mention the mandatory vaccine and the cashless society. Crazy Lisa, you're a nutter. Well, okay.
Yep.
It's out in the open. The World Economic Forum totally went over all this.
Well, it's just a matter of looking at the writing on the wall, because it's there. You just got to stop and read it, because it's all there now.
Oh, yeah.
I think there is something afoot, and again, like I said, I don't know what. It could be
A lot of things.
anything at this point. But yeah, there's something afoot, and all the players, especially in the Western world, and I mean that in the sense of counting in Europe,
Oh, yeah.
England, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. You get the idea. And well, and our allies. You can see who our allies really are, like India, Israel. You know, they
Well,
they're
Israel's
all
been
fall.
bombing Gaza for like 9, 10 straight days now, but I don't know if that's even in the news.
It's not in the news. See, there's a lot not in the news.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's just no, it's all getting ready over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're shifting us really quickly. And also, I was looking at Suspicious Observer.
Yes, he's scary.
he's, he's pretty truthfully
I have to put-
scary.
I know he is. I got to put these on again. I'm getting a glare. Go on.
Okay, he was talking about earthquakes the other day. You can catch it. It was like probably 2 or 3 videos ago over the world that is round in his picture. And he came to China and Russia, and he said, I don't know what to tell you, because the data coming out of those two nations right now is shut off. We're not getting any data about the daily earthquakes going on in those two nations. So, but he showed the rest of the world where earthquakes are going on. And I don't know if he knew this, but I got the distinct impression, oh, did somebody pull the plug over there where we're not getting anything out of Russia and China? Nothing, nada, not even a weather report.
I was
And
muted. I'm sorry.
and that's an excellent first move
That's a good
in.
channel. I'll put it. Well, do you want me to do the description and I have to do Tess. I have to do. I'm sorry. We won't edit this either. People need to see us behind the scenes.
Oh, we're all behind this. Yeah,
I'll
we're in
do
front of the
Tess.
scenes.
I'll be that guy from High Impact and what you just talked about, Suspicious. And I'll throw in Richard Hall too. Richard Hall, I say with the nasal accent, the nasal sound. I'm sorry. I'm getting silly.
That's okay. Hey, and I just want to quickly go to this for a second. Hold on, please, as I take down a green screen.
That looks like a yurt or something. Okay.
Yes, it is. It's kind of, okay. What I wanted to show here is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And in that, one of the first things that's talked about, attack by strategies, and the first thing it said is the best way to take your enemy is quietly and subtly. You do not really want to destroy the buildings and architecture and streets and such, because not only will your army need those things, but also when things are left intact and a new regime comes in, the more people are settled with the new regime because nothing's so disrupted, if you're getting my drift. See, that was their mistake.
I am getting your drift. I've heard of that book. I think somebody in the Trump administration, like, was it Steve Bannon that liked that book?
Oh, all the military follow things like this. See, the point is, in Vietnam, they would go in and they would destroy towns and villages, and we saw that, unfortunately. And what they learned from that is the people first, they scatter. You don't want this population to scatter. You want them in a central area, and you want them to trust you because you're the new regime taking over. But you give them nothing to hold on to. No buildings, no roads. So they learned that, yes, if you can take an area over as covertly as possible and not have to destroy it, your odds are better of keeping that particular area and gathering the population. Just saying.
That's really good that you look into that, because you're really supposed to get inside of the minds of those who wish to control us or feel they do, the controllers. I guess we can just call it the controllers, the elite, the 1%, whatever you want to call them. Let's say controllers.
Yeah, I call them the whomevers.
Whomevers, yeah, that's right. I do like that, the whomevers, because people have a hard time putting themselves in the shoes of these idiots, because most people have empathy and are not sociopaths. So you have to kind of see what they're like in their minds. And I think you said something recently on a video that was so true about they've been studying human psychology for many generations, and they know how to get us. They know totally, like that Tavistock Institute that Sage Aquay talks about. And, well, not just him, but you know what I mean. They know how the human mind really works. That's why terrifying us with an invisible enemy like they're doing now, they know how the population is going to take that. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Yes, they have our number, Lisa, and they've had it for many, many decades. That's how they sell you Coca-Cola. That's how they get you. You'll be watching a movie and all of a sudden you're going, why do I have this big craving for Reese's candy?
Right.
And made us a consumer society. And that's a hard habit to break too. Boy, Americans are really going to have their withdrawal symptoms from that soon.
I know we all talk about, of course, I smoke cigarettes and all,
Yep.
but there's a lot of things that are addictive, like sugar and television. Television's a big one. It's an addiction. I really do think, and I don't throw around the word addiction lightly. I don't necessarily know if certain things they claim that you can become addicted, you really can, but whatever. In the case of television, I really do think so. It's unreal.
No, you're absolutely right. Television is absolutely one of the number one big distractors. Eats up a lot of people's time in their day if they really, get into it. Another one that I've noticed though in the last, I'd say about 7 or 8 years, is travel addiction. I mean, people are every time I talk to, I'm going here, and I thought, well, didn't you just go somewhere 4 months ago? Oh yeah, but now I'm off to another. I mean, just travel, move, travel, move. I mean,
Wow. I had a camping addiction, but that was kind of fun.
yeah, that's different. I mean, no, people who it was almost like I think they enjoyed the process of getting there versus the destination kind. You know what I mean? It's like they were almost addicted to flying and traveling a lot. I mean,
Yes, I'm sure that I'm going to bring myself back.
I'm just using that as sure, me too. In just a second here, yeah, that's my hit. At least on, I mean, it was odd. They were just always going, going, going.
Right. I mean, I just can't get over. Isn't there something? Let's get back to television for a minute. Like I said, we really are on a stream of consciousness today. Television, isn't there some sort of wave or something that makes you kind of? I noticed when kids watch TV that it's like I'm making a face in case you're not in the room, G Sharp. They're just
I'm
that's
here. I'm just adjusting my video.
oh, okay. Well, at any rate, their mouths are open. They're totally just. It's like a soothing. I don't know what it is, but I did give up the TV probably about 5 years ago. This right after the must have been 2015 primary. I don't know. I'm going to say 4 years for sure. But Perpetual lives for it. But I mean, he's working a lot, so he's not glued to it all day by any stretch. But when he gets home or when he gets up, it's on. It's on. It's on.
Yes, no, I've been in households where the
Oh, it
TV
hurts to
never went,
click.
yeah, never went off. I had a
I used
roommate
to
never
be
went
that
off.
way. I used to totally be that way. So I'm not trying to be some Judge Judy or whatever.
No,
Judge.
no, no. I've been a moderate watcher. I have planned, like I'm gonna watch. It's mostly science fiction, and it's not like I'm addicted to it now. Well, maybe I am because it's just my mindset. I read a lot of science fiction. I'm sorry, people. It's just my thing.
Well, yes, you have to be sorry for it.
Well, yeah,
How
but
dare you read
but
science
I
fiction?
I know and watch science fiction shows. But actually, I'm watching their predictive programming. Well, what do they think we want next, and what will we buy, and and what we're going to project again with the collective consciousness out into our reality. People, what you think is what you are.
Right. And today I sat down on the grass and said to nobody, where the hell are we and who are we? I mean, I really don't know. I used to think I had it all figured out with the evolutionary biology and the Big Bang theory and all of that jazz, and I don't. And like I tell people, the more I study, the less I know. The more research I do, the less I know.
Oh, no kidding.
That Tess woman, I had to play her like I play most people in a little bit faster speed, but I had to go slower with her because there's so much information that it's hard for me. And then she has, of course, things to read on the screen. So I'm going to listen to it again and then just watch, then be able to look at it later and try to follow her links and stuff. But about these comets and how how the Chicago fire, that puts me in the mind of the reset, and it ties in with the JonLevi stuff. I really have thought there's a reset coming for a while, or a catastrophe, or whatever you want to call it. And
Both.
this could explain that. JonLevi calls this area a realm. He just calls it a realm, and that's okay. I don't care if he says it or not.
It kind of feels that way.
Yeah, that would explain some of the architecture that I find to be a little suspicious. Oh my gosh. There is now a train of thought that we might live on a computer motherboard. Have you seen that?
Yes, I saw some of that. They were looking at ancient temples, and the ancient temples match components that we do see on computer motherboards. And
Yeah,
they were
like the
thinking,
city buildings and stuff.
yes, well, they were going like, some temples in Greece, for example. If you look down on them directly, Google Earth, whatever, you'll see they match up to components that they would solder in a computer. And they were speculating,
Yes.
okay, did some giant beings come down and put something on top of that to connect with Earth?
It's
Like,
really wild. I should get JonLevi's latest real quick and play a little bit of it.
you can if you'd like, go for
Okay,
it.
keep talking though. I'm gonna stop my cam and all that jazz.
Okay, I'm going to put myself up directly for a momento. So, yes, that was a really trippy revelation. It explain, I think there's more to these pyramids and these temples that we're giving credit for. They really had a function. And I'm going to put this also in here again, going back to mud fossil history, that we come from a land of giants. And that's why the pyramids were built so easily. It wasn't us little, you know, munchkins, It was really big, big humanoids that built the temples and built the pyramids. And it was easy breezy for them because think about it, if you're 18 to 36 feet tall. Okay, I'm done with that.
Well, I'm back. I'm ready to rip. But I know you love that giant thing, and that Tess woman mentioned it today. Something about like might have been the fallen angels or something from Mars. I don't know what all. I have to go back over it. It's just crazy. Okay, I'm gonna share this, but I'm just gonna do it, I guess, right?
Please
Share the
do.
audio, do this, blah blah blah. Share screen. Share audio.
Welcome. Now in this video, I want to explore the reset. We've spent some time looking at architecture, and the role that it provides is still unknown. It's clear that a primitive people just starting out their civilizations would not build this glorious architecture. And if it was already here, what function did it really provide? Today we'll go deeper into the nature of this realm, as we ask ourselves, do we live on a supercomputer? I hope you enjoy. As usual, there's really no structure to my thoughts today. I was just looking at this video.
Am I here?
You're here. The video share link didn't come over.
Okay, let's just start again. I'll just cancel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Okay, share screen, and then I'll go ahead. I must have just goofed something up. I did. Okay. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. All right, there we go. And there's that. And there we go with that.
Aha.
And now here we go. Okay. He just mentioned living on a giant computer, and I have him playing in 1.5 speed because he's so slow talking.
Do we live in a computer? This has kind of been the topic lately amongst our small community of alternative research, ultimately where the research of the Peruvian lines leads. It takes us all through the realm, no exception, and pretty soon beginning to look like a motherboard or circuit board. All these lines and even canals and grids and buildings, temples, monuments, all acting as a giant computer. And what is powering the computer? It appears we are the source of food or input or power to this realm-wide supercomputer. And this is definitely a bigger picture, almost matrix seeming concept. This, again, bringing us back to the cube and the hidden controlling force, again showing itself to be something beyond human. If this is a massive computer, and if we're powering this computer, then who is receiving and benefiting? Really making us feel very small, and our very lifeblood as a collective, people providing a resource that we're completely unaware of to a possible entity that we are equally unaware of. And really, when we look at cars moving in the night, the timing of everything, the required amount of work and scheduling, all perhaps being by design. When the recipients of this supercomputer require more energy is when the masses are triggered into action, be it just everyday work or special sporting events and even holidays, providing a possible reboot or break for the system. And again, fascinating the way we seem to push an issue on all these different channels until it's similar to beating a dead horse and something like this comes along. Something that we've all scratched the surface of for years. And I love how a new puzzle piece seems to fit in with other puzzle pieces, suddenly shining new light on old subjects. And when we question the old subjects with our new information, things seem to fall into place. And really dissecting every component of a computer or a machine can be shown to have similarities to our modern cities and buildings, and nothing is by accident. Really, most of these city layouts being constructed, we're told, in the 1700s, 1800s, completely small populations, primitive people, these layouts were already here. This is what seems clear in our research. All the grids and ancient lines that make no sense in the middle of nowhere, similar to Peru. And yet this knowledge seems to be understood. Now much infrastructure does remain, key components in this supercomputer, but many seem to be rebuilt, and we build towers, cubes, and what are we really building? If they lay on these lines or circuits, all these components producing heat, and if working in unison, a potential massive energy transfer, if harnessed, if all of this is true. And here, this channel shows the melting of one of these circuit boards, and absolutely fascinating to see what happens. And this seems very similar to this event in which we cannot place our finger on, this reset event, that seems to be hit and miss throughout our realm. Not every part got cooked, but other locations did, turning what seemed to be bustling civilizations, based on the remains, into complete wastelands and powdered deserts. But yet much evidence still does survive in the deserts of Iraq, and really all throughout this realm. There's no one particular place, and yet making no sense. I'd often hypothesize that this event may come from the solar luminary above, what the mainstream might have called a solar flare. Regardless, some sort of intense outburst of fiery plasma. And again, if this is a supercomputer, what is the function? And the reset could simply be the resetting of this supercomputer. And all of this happens underneath us. What we see on the surface is our realm. But really, the bulk of this function taking part under our feet, underneath the cities that are under our feet. And perhaps this supercomputer goes on, unconcerned with the cyclical resets that take place on the surface. This realm seeming to have a timing like a clock. And again, we cannot even begin to conceive of the greater function of this machine in which we dwell upon. All as we know is it clearly resets itself, wipes out the people and the buildings every so often as a byproduct of this otherwise pretty fascinating machine. Something that has otherwise been given credit to natural, if we look at science, a perfect system that sprung out of nothing. A perfect free energy, self-perpetuating system. And if we look at it from a biblical perspective, a system created by God, not too dissimilar from this theory we're discussing right now. A system created for someone, and actually being very much more machine-like than natural and organic, like we were taught to believe. And this leads into the research of another channel I wanted to share, a very fascinating channel comprised of 3 individuals putting their minds together. And I've been watching this channel for some time, trying to make sense of their work. Very heavy and deep, but excellent research, and I believe that they're really onto something. So I don't want to get too deep, I just want to scratch the surface. I really look forward to doing an interview with them and just getting their take, rather than me butchering it. And here's this channel I'm talking about, FPV Angel. It's a very nice channel, don't be scared by the picture. And I have not watched this video yet. I've watched several others.
Just wanted to know if I should maybe stop there, and I'll put the link in if people want to take a look and see.
Yes, yes. So we don't want to run his whole video.
No. Yeah, I'll stop there. But and of course, like I said before, I I really do think that it's an electric universe. And so when he talks about the luminary in the sky, I'm not going to necessarily agree with that, but I'm not going to throw everything he says out either. It just is so fascinating to think of things like that to me.
Oh,
Oh,
me too. Oh, that's right up my alley. I absolutely love that stuff. Yes. It gives us thought as to how we're doing things. Do we really think it's us creating these buildings and grids naturally? Because it does not seem human.
I know, it's so weird.
Humans are a little bit more, serendipity-ish to, just gosh and by golly, and then yet we put ourselves on such strict streets and corners and buildings
Right.
and
Yeah. Do you think that, remember how I said earlier something along the lines of things are really out in the open? Do you think they've always been that way and we see it more clearly now? Nothing's
well,
really that, or we just see things in a different way? Because I don't look at buildings or mountains or anything the same way anymore.
no. Once you hit that point of any questioning, whether it's mud fossils, the mountains don't look the same, or buildings don't look the same. It's great because it just simply opens up your skepticism, and
I
that's
think
what
so,
I'm
yeah.
out for. I don't care what anyone believes. I'm just asking you to start skepticizing and questioning and maybe grabbing a few new beliefs
Well,
and throwing
belief
a few old
is
dusty ones out because they don't fit the narrative, at least not anymore.
right, and belief is the enemy of knowledge.
It really is. Yeah, that's basically where I'm going. It's just opening up and checking out different things, because whether it was accidentally or intentionally, we've been held back from our history, the
Yes,
real
we have.
truth, and it's now our time in the Aquarian age. The house of I know. Like I said, you're gonna feel it, people, more and more. You're just gonna go, I don't know why I didn't see that before.
Yeah.
If you just look at things.
I mean, I never would have thought that I'd be even looking at it. I would have thought this was crazy to even entertain such a thought, even 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, I was just recently turned on to the mud fossil, mud
Yeah,
flood theory
yeah.
a few months ago by, let me give a shout out for this guy. He has a great channel, which is Max Vision Remote Viewing. Please check him out.
I think
He
I've
tur-
seen him.
yeah,
Seen him, Max Vision. No, I think
yeah,
I
he's got a really fun remote viewing channel. It's just a blast doing it. I have to catch him though when I'm on. Sometimes you're just not on the computer. But yeah, he showed me this, and I really dove into this because it makes more sense to me versus the Darwinian, which
right,
is that
yeah.
1880,
1850, I think, was it,
1890s
or
or
90s?
wherever
Yeah.
yeah, dusty old knowledge. It's dusty. Let's get rid of that and really look at our origins again. And I think we were bigger, and somehow they either made us smaller or we just devolved
Well,
in
there's
a
that,
form of survival from the mud flood. I don't know.
and I think the mud flood. That's a poison word. Certain words are poison when you say it, like Anunnaki or mud flood. But
No, it's not. Not on this channel.
I'm talking about for the normie. Anyhow, well, whatever. Uh, I think that could have to do with this reset thing that even could be like the electric universe, the comets going by, the stuff that Tess talks about. How, I mean, that would explain that too, I think. Oh, whoops, I just moved my computer.
Oh, I do. I think there's a lot more that needs to be tied in.
Yeah,
You know.
certain things are falling into place. And hey, we could be wrong. Everything we say could be wrong here, but it's fun to entertain the different thoughts, I think.
That's right. And anybody who tunes into this knows that we are not, professional historians
No.
or anything. This is just my opinion.
We're
And I hope
lay
it's
women.
and I hope my message is entertaining.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to
And-
have to sign off. We should sign off. It's like an hour and 9 minutes just because I have to eat something.
Oh, you got it. Well, it's been great having you here, Lisa, and we'll get this all set up on the channels soon.
I mean, did you have something else? We don't have to leave like right this minute, but I mean,
Sure.
we should wind. I think I need to wind up anyway.
Okay, wind up. Go ahead. Take us out.
I'm going to take us out. Oh, that's right. I take us out. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to Oregon, Pennsylvania SOC, which means stream of consciousness. And boy, did we follow it today, this afternoon, whatever it is. I will be putting some links in here, sending them to G Sharp, and she'll get it all ready for you. And we remind you to, your word you say.
Oh, please give us a thumbs up. We really, really would appreciate that at this time. And of course, you know the drill. Stay frosty.
And don't